Okay, let's look at representing data here now. We're going to learn to draw bar graphs, double bar graphs, histograms, and pie charts. And you've done this all before, but let's just go over it. A bar graph is used to represent discrete data that's in categories. Discrete data means that the values being tested are not connected. So a double bar graph is to compare two different sets of data on the same graph. A histogram is used to represent group data in intervals. These intervals must be consecutive. They must follow along from one after another, and they can't overlap. And a pie chart is used to represent data that's divided into slices called sectors. So things that kind of add up to 100%, you can break down into different parts, a quarter and a half. You add up to a whole, and you can break down into fractions. Okay, let's just take a look at this. Say you had a question here. It starts off, there's a walkathon, participants by grades. There's boys and there's girls in grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, and 12, and all these numbers here. And you're thinking about, what should I use for that? Well, look at this one here. Times taken by participants to complete the walkathon. Some people did it from 0 to 30 minutes, 31 to 60, 61 to 90. So these are intervals here, 91 to 120. And then we've got how many are in each sort of class interval here. And the last one, the walkathon prize winners by grade. Well, there were 2 in grade 8, 2 in grade 9, 4 in grade 10, 5 in grade 11, and 7 in grade 12. But there's a total here, so 8 and 12, there's 20 people altogether. Well, let's look at the choices we might make for this data. The first one, let's take a look at the walkathon. The double bar is the best one for this because there's 2 sets of data. A double barred bar graph, so we can put the grade 8 boys and girls and we can compare them. Boys is blue, girls is red, and that's a good way of displaying the data. The histogram is kind of like a bar graph where they're touching each other, but because of these intervals, 0 to 30, 31 to 60, we know how many fit into them. We just go straight across there. Between 31 and 60, there's this many, and between 61 and 90, so you see those numbers fit best for the histogram, the 75, 190, and just making that big giant bar where they touch each other. The last one, what you do to make is the pie graph would be the best way to show these, to show the kind of fraction. There's 20 people in total. And how would you figure out those degrees? Well, you would take 2, divide by 20, that's 1/10. And you go 1/10 of 360 degrees, that's 36 degrees. So this slice here is 36. This is 36 for 2. And if you want to figure out how big the slice is for 7, you go 7 divided by 20, that's the fraction, and times it by 360 degrees. And that's how we get this big slice here. And you just measure it on your protractor. Look how they label everything. See how they label their axes? They label the title of what they're doing. They label here the Y and the X axis. Take a close look at how well they've put this together, and that's what you've got to do as well. You have to make kind of a decision of which would be best, a way to represent the data. And here's the questions we're going to be doing yourself. Okay.